So the Milltek Sport Civic Cup cars out on their green flag lap now then, ahead of their second of 3 races this weekend. The first one yesterday was won by Matt Luff from Alistair Camp in second, and Jamie Tonks third, whilst in the production class, Alfie Threlfall inherited a win after Mervyn Beckett and Peter Dell came to blows whilst they were fighting for the race lead. This next race, though, features a partially reversed grid. It looks as though the top 10 have been reversed, so that's going to make for an entertaining race. Martin Dalzell getting the pole position with Ryan Bensley alongside him. Ben Sharp came from the back of the grid to 8th yesterday, so starts third in this one after an engine change after qualifying. And here is the grid, because George Alp Williams is alongside Ben Sharp on that second row. Row 3 for Morgan Bailey and Dan Thackeray, whilst on the 4th row is Dave Bucke and Jamie Tonks, who was on the podium in yesterday's race. Then behind those two, we've got on the 5th row of the grid Alistair Camp and Matt Luff. Now, they were the top 2 in yesterday's race, and Alistair Camp is your championship leader, albeit not by a huge margin. Row 6 for Bradley Lane and Chris Mullin, ahead of Ross Darlington and Paul McHugh on the 7th row of the grid. 8th row for Simon Waite, and Phil Wright. Then it is Rob Butler, who had an off finish yesterday, an overheating issue for him, and Ben Mills, who are together on that 9th row of the grid. Row 10 for Mark Hughes and Harry Threlfall. We're into the production runners now. Simon Welch and Matthew Stenning are together on row 12. Row 13, Peter Dell. Watch for him to come from the back of the production field. He's got Rhys Lewis for company with Nick Charlier at the very back of the grid. Now, Paul O'Neill once again joins me up here in the comms box. Paul, you weren't here to enjoy yesterday's race. It was a really, really entertaining race. But this Matt Luff kid, he's something special, isn't he?
Yeah, it does seem to be a bit special, and I've heard his name for a while now in circles, and people saying how good he is, and he's obviously showing it now, and this is the time to shine, isn't it? A lot of people here at Brands Hatch, 4,000 spectators. I hope you're all having a great time. I know you can hear us out there, and I think once these cars are all lined up, you're going to love this. Proper front-wheel drive, Japanese special EP3 Honda Civics, and they really will give us something to watch. But the front row for me is an interesting one. Ryan Bensley running up on P2. I know I spoke to him just before the start of this, and he was a bit nervous about how the car was going to perform, but he's in a good position. It's a bit drizzly, so this is a race for anybody.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it, then? So we have got Martin Dalzell, the yellow car, on pole position. The red and silver is Ryan Bensley. Ben Sharp, third on the grid, possibly one of the pre-race favourites, former winner in the championship. Lights go out, away we go then. The rush towards Paddock Hill bend begins, and Bensley's had a good one there on the outside of Dalzell. Ryan Bensley has his nose ahead going into Paddock Hill bend, but he's on the outside line, and Dalzell should have the advantage there on the inside. Ben Sharp takes advantage of that as well to go second, and then challenge for first. Dalzell closes the door in his face, and that delays Sharp and allows Ryan Bensley to fight back around the outside. All of them safely through paddock, though, through Druids for the first time. How is this one going to sort itself out? The yellow car of Dalzell still ahead, side by side for second. Then on the inside is the number 7 of Bensley. To the outside goes Ben Sharp, and Sharp should have had the momentum there, I think, off Graham Hill bend to seize the position. Yes, he has. Ben Sharp into second place.
Pretty quick starting stuff though, isn't it? Bensley there in the number 7, P2 off the grid, just having a bit of a struggle with a few people behind, can't get the car turned in. Camp on the outside, oh, that's not where you want to be. I tell you what, he was lucky there that Bradley Lane didn't fire him in the gravel.
Yeah, Lane was up the inside of him there. They both came across a slower car ahead of them. Change for the lead. Ben Sharp has got the advantage here from Dalzell into Paddock Hill bend, and that's Dan Thackeray coming up the inside for second place. Dan Thackeray was our driver of the day at Cadwell Park at the season opener, and he's now into P2. The top 3 cars absolutely together as they go up the hill. Dalzell again sends it down the outside. Wherever they go, he's going in the opposite direction. That's George Al Williams out wide, the Welsh driver slipping down the order a bit now. Ali Camp elbows his way through as Dalzell tries again to come back at Dan Thackeray. It's Sharp from Thackeray from Dalzell, the top 3. Morgan Bailey, I think that is, in 4th position ahead of Dave Bucke, who I think is ahead of Bensley now. No, he's not. Bensley keeping Bucke at bay, actually, as they go into Surtees for the second time. And there, Matt Luff ahead of George Alt Williams. Matt Luff, yesterday's winner, starting to make progress.
Yeah, that was good stuff, wasn't it, by Ben Sharp? That was a real classy start from Sharp. He got the job done early doors, and he weren't hanging around. I mean, these conditions are difficult as he goes across, doesn't he? And he's got, oh, is this a change? Oh, tell you what, these boys are having it proper large going into paddock. That's not where I want to be.
Oh,
3 abreast.
no, Jamie Tonks. I think Tonks has damage possibly. There was side-to-side contact there between Tonks and Bradley Lane, and now that is Ryan Bensley getting it all wrong, and poor old Morgan Bailey in the wrong place at the wrong time finds himself getting delayed as well. But yeah, I think Tonks and Bradley Lane had side-to-side contact across the start-finish line. I reckon that broke something on Tonks' car. Sideways, spinning in the background, that I'm afraid is Ross Darlington. He collected another car there as he spun at Graham Hill Bend. Reverse grid races, hey, especially when you throw in a bit of drizzle in the air, they were always guaranteed to provide drama. There's someone's bumper there, chilling in the grass, going through Surtees. Bit of bruising opening few laps this ball.
Oh, it is, isn't it? And I can see, as I look out of the comms window, all the crowd up against the fence watching this action as Ben Sharp with a 54.449. So the tyres starting to get temperature in them now as they all come across the line and take a set, but these cars are really on the toes, aren't they? Oh no!
That's Mark Hughes.
Mark Hughes on the grass. Oh, and another got straight on.
That was Mullin. That was Chris Mullin, who was collected by Darlington, I think, down at Graham Hill. Darlington's carried on with rear bodywork damage, but Chris Mullin's car in for retirement.
Yeah, it's all happening, isn't it? These cars are so well hooked up as they go through Graham Hill Bend and getting the things on their noses. As you can see there, someone is just trying to get ahead. That's going to be a difficult move, that, going into Surtees.
Yeah, not a place that it's easy to go side by side through, and that's why, because contact is made. Morgan Bailey is the red car involved, and another car about to smear back onto the track was number 63, Phil Wright, whose car was all kinds of oversteery yesterday, and that time I think the oversteer was possibly through some assistance from the car on the inside. Right, Matt Luff on the inside of Ryan Bensley, George Alt Williams behind him, 3 quick drivers together here. Luff, yesterday's winner, going for 7th place, and Alt Williams follows him through. George told me yesterday that he was over driving in yesterday's first race. George Alt Williams, a teenager still, done a bit of track days, done a few track days in the past, but very inexperienced at racing, came into the championship last year and immediately was up there fighting for race victories, but this weekend hasn't quite gone to plan. So Sharp leads the way after 4 and a bit minutes, with Dan Thackeray only half a second behind him. Ryan Dalzell is 3rd, Dave Buki is 4th, and alongside him into Surtees. Buki around the outside, that won't work, but Dave Buki doesn't know about overtakes that won't work. He sees a gap and he goes for it. Always exciting to watch, isn't he, Dave?
Yeah, he is, and I tell you what, he was lucky there because he really come out of that move and nearly put himself under pressure from Bradley Lane and everybody else behind.
Jamie Tonks, that's as a result of that damage, I think. Right, Buki to the outside of Dalzell, Lane to the outside of Camp. That wasn't in the script for Alistair Camp, who tries to turn a defensive move into an attacking move on Buki at Paddock. He's sideways, is the area motorsport driver, saves it, gets a bit of a tap in the tail from Bradley Lane, and then ahead of them, Buki straight back up the inside. There's grass all over the road at Druids. This is getting very, very messy, and now Matt Luff joins in as well around the outside of Bradley Lane. Right, Buki goes to the front of the group, Dalzell is fending off Alistair Camp, and Matt Luff is on a mission. He goes up the inside of Brad Lane, and now he's right back on the tail of the man that chased him home yesterday.
Yeah, it's all bunching up, isn't it? And Buki was getting a right old workout there for Sneers Lane. Oh, I tell you what, he was lucky there. He bounces off the curb, nearly ends up on the grass as they enter clearways, but gets the traction down, and they live to fight another day.
So Matt Luff already starting to ask some questions here of Alistair Camp. This is going to be 4. What positions have they found themselves in now? Alistair Camp is up to 5th, so Matt Luff 6th, and Camp with a late lunge up the inside of Dalzell. That was sweet as a nut, but he runs a bit wide, and Dalzell get that switchback.
Oh, and just a bit of contact on the exit as well, and that means he's under pressure now as they turn into Druids. This is great racing, and is that a little touch? Dalzell is trying to get back on the inside, but he's got the move covered. He squeezes him on the grass. 1 hip and shoulder, 2 hip and shoulders, and Luff gets out of it and fights another day.
Yes, that's what we call robust defensive driving, I think, isn't it? You are not coming through here, and if you do, you're going on the grass. But look at the time that's lost Matt Luff now, because Alistair Camp has disappeared up the road. The 666, by the way, going through there, that is, or 66, I think, Alfie Threlfall moving his way up the order. No, sorry, Ben Mills, 666, up the inside of Bradley Lane now, who was very wide at Druids, I spotted on that previous lap. The leaders, by the way, still nose to tail. So are Ryan Dalzell and Matt Luff, who's sizing up for a move at paddock and makes it stick, does he? He's got the inside against Dalzell, who is just starting now to slip backwards after benefiting from the reversed grid. Started on pole, and Dalzell now down to 6th place. Brilliant racing here, though, Paul.
Absolutely brilliant, yeah. There's no quarter given, is there? A non-taken, a lot of cars just glancing into each other, which is acceptable for me as long as it's not in the brake zones and not also on the grass, which we've seen. But the gap is definitely closing now, isn't it? And Dan Thackeray is right on the back of him.
Yeah, Ben Sharp hadn't driven on these tyres before this weekend. The last time he raced in Civic Cup when he was a race winner a few years ago, and indeed runner-up in the championship a couple of years before that, but they were on different tyres, so he's been struggling to get used to these tyres, and well, on that particular lap did quite well because he was a 10th quicker than Dan Thackeray, but Thackeray is going to try and reel him in again, I'm sure, before the end. Right, in the production ranks, we haven't had a chance to talk about them yet. In the lead of that class is Alfie Drellfall. His brother Harry is 2nd. 3rd place then is number 44, which is Reese Lewis, and 4th place Peter Dell, and that is the battle we're watching here for 3rd place then in the production class. Peter Dell is already then ahead of the likes of Mervyn Beckett, with whom he was fighting for the victory yesterday. Good race this for Peter, and he's shaping up here for a move for 3rd. Oh no! That is Dalzell. Dalzell in the barriers coming out of Druids. Now, you don't get there by yourself usually, do you? So I wonder if there was a bit of contact.
I'd say not, and I'd say that car is definitely going to have to retire. Oh, no. Right, OK, so that's a big change then.
Yeah, so Brad Lane was off. Graham Hill, related to the Dalzell incident, we know not. Dalzell's car, I can tell you, is stranded on the road. There it is, look, going into Graham Hill Bend. Now, if this isn't a safety car, I'll eat my hat, because that car is definitely in a dangerous position. Meanwhile, Matt Luff just casually throws in a fastest lap as he goes into 5th position now and chases after Alistair Camp, but I think this is going to need a safety car, surely.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, that's a pretty straight exit out of Druid, so sometimes if you turn across somebody or if they turn you round in a straight line, well, there might have been a bit of contact, so we don't know exactly what's happened, but yeah, that is not a good situation, and if that car stays there, it's definitely a safety car situation, and that's not what these leaders will want.
No, it's certainly not what Dan Thackeray wants, because he's already on the tail of Ben Sharp. I think Ben could do with a breather, though, really, couldn't he? Maybe a safety car could be a... that's good news. Ryan Dalzell's car fires back up again, and off he goes. So that now negates, hopefully, the necessity for a safety car. You can see the damage to the front of the car. Oh, isn't that always the way? As soon as the car moves, the safety car gets scrambled. So race control waited and waited and waited in the hope that Ryan Dalzell will get the car out the way on his own. And, well, that's Brad Lane behind him, and I reckon those two might possibly be having a discussion about what happened there. I don't think Brad Lane, you can see the grill there full of grass. Brad's going to have to pit, surely.
Yeah, I don't want to be a cynic here, but did that control alt-delete just as he was coming up behind him and he got it started up? I'll tell you what, the restart will be an interesting one to watch then.
Well, won't it just, because Sharp and Thackeray were 7 seconds ahead of Dave Buki, Alistair Camp and Matt Luff. That gap is going to vanish now. Now, OK, we're only going to have a couple of minutes of racing left, but Buki is going to be keen, isn't he, to try and get into the top 2. Camp and Luff are both going to be after good points. They're looking strong in the championship early doors. Ben Sharp and Dan Thackeray are not going to have this all their own way.
Did you say Dave Buki was going to be keen? I think that is like the most... the biggest understatement I think I've ever read. I think Buki will be he'll be looking for a race win here. He'll definitely be closing these guys up. But like you say, there's a big gap, wasn't there, from the lead battle back down to Dave Buki. So yeah, he will be absolutely loving this situation. Get his tyres up to 10. I think looking at the comms box, I think the drizzle may have stopped. So yeah, it'd be good to just see a nice, you know, one-on-one situation for this race win, but I think it's going to be a 10-on-1 situation. This is not going to happen, isn't it?
Ben Sharp is going to have to make that the widest Honda Civic in existence. So we've got 4.25 minutes to go then. We are behind safety car here in round number 3 of the Milltek Sports Civic Cup. Ben Sharp has the lead, number 24. 29, Dan Thackeray is 2nd, and number 51, Dave Buki is 3rd. Then it's Alistair Camp, the championship leader, in 4th. And Matt Luff, yesterday's winner, 5th place in the race at the moment. Now, Matt Luff is 5 points behind Alistair Camp at the top of the championship now after his win yesterday. So if he can gain a few places here, first of all get ahead of Alistair Camp and then try and put some cars between them, he could in theory take the championship lead. George Alp Williams is 6th. He's recovered well actually after the slightly off start that he had where he was wide and making a few mistakes, but he's fought back into 6th. 7th place is Ben Mills. Now, where did Ben Mills start this race? I don't recall him being near the front. No, 18th on the grid, Ben Mills, to 7th. That is a pretty good effort, you'd have to say. Then you've got Ryan Bensley 8th, Phil Wright is 9th, and Morgan Bailey 10th, and those two have both been off the track at least once in this race. In production, it's still a Threlfall 1-2, Alfie ahead of Harry. It was Alfie that won yesterday, of course, with 3rd place for Rhys Lewis. Restart incoming, Paul.
Looks like it, yeah. The only reason I was pointing at the screen is because I just seen a load of Honda Civics go absolutely flat out into the last corner, so that usually gives it away. I tell you who is super fast, like you picked out before. Luff has done a 53.6 as his fastest lap. Nobody has got within 0.4 of a second of that time, so yeah, he's definitely one to watch, but I don't know if he's got enough time to win this race.
No, but if he can get ahead of Alistair Camp, that will feel like a victory, because it's sort of early stages in the championship, I know, but it's sort of looking like they are the two pace setters, so Matt Luff will definitely want to pass the car ahead of him for 4th place. Back up and racing then, and there's a big hop and a jump there from the race leader Ben Sharp, turning into Graham Hill Bend. Came off the corner surprisingly well, given the fact he was on 2 wheels halfway through the turn, but Dan Thackeray will see that, won't he, and he will sense an opportunity.
He will do, and as soon as you make a mistake like that and you run wide from an apex, or you get oversteer with the rear axle giving up, you do look in your mirror straight away. But I've got to admit, he's got his toe down, hasn't he, and he's pulled the gap now, so Thackeray is further behind him.
Yeah, Ben Sharp is a really good pedaler, and he was still nearly 2/10 quicker than Thackeray on that lap. Now, for 3rd place, Dave Buki, rather than challenging for 2nd, is actually watching his mirrors now, because with just under 2 minutes to go, Alistair Camp has latched back onto him and is very late on the brakes into Druids' camp. He closes the gap within 1 braking point. Matt Luff, of course, still there in 5th. Alp Williams is 6th. 7th place is still Bensley. We've had a change for 10th place, though, apparently. Morgan Bailey up a position or 2 there into the top 10 now. But this fight for 3rd developing nicely as they head down the Cooper Straight into Surtees Corner. Buki, Camp, Luff, 3rd, 4th and 5th, as close as you like, and we're about to start the penultimate lap.
Yeah, it's all to play for then, isn't it? All the cars working differently in the different sectors.
Change for 3rd, Paul, there it is on the screen. Sorry, I just caught that out of the window. Camp's got ahead of Buki.
Oh, well, there you go then, and that's no surprise to me, actually. That's a decent effort, that, especially late on. You can really shock people into that situation, can't you? But I'll tell you what, the right rear of Camp's car looks well nervous.
Oh, he's off! I don't believe it, Matt. Alistair Camp, the championship leader, with a big mistake at paddock. The car has looked a bit sketchy through paddock all race long, and having just got past Buki into 3rd, he not only gives 3rd place back, but drops 2 or 3 positions, because Luff and George Alp Williams, I think, yeah, Alp Williams has gone through as well. So George Alp Williams into 5th. That means that it's 6th place now for Alistair Camp, and that might be enough for Luff to take the championship lead. He could do with getting past Dave Buki as well, and he's going to have 1 more lap to do it. They've got 20 seconds left on the clock, or 15 now, as they head through the final couple of corners. Ben Sharp is just about going to get to the start-finish line in time for 1 more lap around the 1.2-mile Brands Hatch Indy circuit. Dan Thackeray has always been within half a second or so of him, but not really close enough to properly challenge for the lead. Buki still 3rd, then Luff 4th, and that could be the real battle on this final lap.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was always coming, that gravel trap.
Oh no, he's off again. Alistair Camp at Clearways, and that car is going nowhere.
How bizarre, what a nightmare. You could see the right rear was locking up all the time into Paddock Hill Bend, and has he been helped into Clearways? The rear bumper was off the car, but I think that might have, did that happen early on?
Yeah, I think that came off when he went through the gravel at Paddock, so he would have been racing George Alp Williams, and there wasn't really anyone else that close behind them. Ben Mills was some way back, wasn't he? Right, lots to dissect after this one, and it's not quite over yet. 1 more corner to go. Matt Luff is challenging Dave Buki for 3rd place, but out in front it is going to be a stellar return to the championship for former championship runner-up Ben Sharp, who wins round number 3 of the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, and he is delighted with that one. Dan Thackeray pushed him hard to the end, but comes home in 2nd, with Dave Buki again hanging on really well there to 3rd place ahead of Matt Luff. George Alp Williams is 5th, Ben Mills is 6th, Ryan Bensley 7th, with Phil Wright, Morgan Bailey and Paul McHugh rounding out the top 10. Number 66, Alfie Threlfall, is going to win in the production class for the 2nd time this weekend, this time with his brother Harry 2nd, and a really good recovery drive there for Peter Dell to finish 3rd place in class. Simon Welch was under pressure for 4th at the line, but does come home 4th in the production class, and Mervyn Beckett, championship leader coming into this weekend in the production category, only 6th. So, very dramatic race there for the Milltek Sports Civic Cup, as always. And Paul O'Neill is going to head down now to have a chat with the podium finishers. Look at the back of George Alt Williams, number 5 car. Is that rear damage maybe to the back of the red car? Yeah, the rear wing has failed there. I've never seen anything like that on a Civic, but George Alt Williams, the rear wing has folded down. That won't have made a huge amount of difference, but I'm baffled as to how that's happened exactly, and equally as to how Alistair Camp ended up in the gravel at Clearways. So, Ben Sharp, victorious then, becomes the third different winner from the first 3 races this season. Dan Thackeray second, Dave Bucke third, with Matt Luff and George Alt Williams rounding out the top 5. Ben Mills was 6th, ahead of Ryan Bensley. Phil Wright, Morgan Bailey and Paul McHugh rounding out the top 10, ahead of the unlucky Ross Darlington. Then it was... in 12th position, it was Simon Waite. Then we get into the production runners. Alfie Threlfall took the victory in production from Harry Threlfall. Peter Dell was second, was third even, with Simon Welch 4th. 5th place for number 44, which was Rhys Lewis, despite his incident, and Mervyn Beckett in 6th. Alistair Camp, though, non-finisher. That is significant. Jamie Tonks, non-finisher. That's also significant because Tonks was 3rd in the championship. So 1st and 3rd in the points. Both failed to finish that race, and that means that Matt Luff is going to take the championship lead now with 25 points for the race victory. He is going to be very, very happy with, Matt Luff will be very happy with that result. We've got Ben Sharp then pulling in at the end of the pit lane. We'll be able to have a chat with him and hopefully with Alfie Threlfall as well after another victory in the production class. Don't forget that we've got another Civic Cup race coming up later on, 5:10. In fact, there are 2 more races today here at Brands Hatch. We've got the final Touring Car Trophy and VW Cup race at 2:20, and at 5:10 we will see the Milltek Sports Civic Cup drivers out for their 3rd and final race, and that one I think the grid is based upon that qualifying session from yesterday, the 2nd fastest lap times from qualifying. So it will be Matt Luff on pole with Jamie Tonks 2nd and Alistair Camp 3rd. So Tonks and Camp with a chance there, I guess, to try and get a few more points back, but that obviously was not an ideal race for those 2 that time around. It was a good race though for Ben Sharp, and he is down in the pit lane now with Paul O'Neill.
Just don't come too close, Ben. Yeah. Oh my word, mate. P4, off the grid. You were straight in there, top man.
Yeah, like I've done no testing at all, and the boys worked miracles yesterday, so that's for them. We changed the engine yesterday, and we don't do this on a big budget. Like, come out and play, and it's all them. Thank you.
Mate, don't make me cry.
Yeah, sorry. I'll get a grip of myself. Yeah, no, the car's mega. Like, I can't believe how well it's come out. We've got an engine that Mr. Bucke's lent us. Without him, we wouldn't be on the grid. So massive thanks to him. Yeah, brilliant.
How amazing is it that the championship as a whole seems to help each other out? We have a WhatsApp group, and there's constant toing and froing, isn't there, about, you know, have you got this part, have you got that part? How amazing is the championship? It's
so good. Like, I've had nothing but issues this weekend. Testing, I got like 1 session where the car worked. I had people lending me sensors left, right and centre. Someone's lent me an engine. I've lent people and stuff this weekend, and that's what it's all about, because don't want to beat each other. We all want to beat each other on the track and do it properly.
You're a top man. Well done. Go and enjoy it with the boys. Yes!
Thank you very much, mate.
Well done.
Cheers.
Spot on. Well done. Alfie, come over here, Captain. We won't go too far. Brilliant stuff, mate. Well done, fella. How was that for you? It looks like you should be carrying a baby.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. No, lots more grip out there than I expected, because I was worried about the rain when we were waiting in the paddock. But no, it was. It went as well as it could have. And my brother in P2 as well, which is superb. So happy to see him in my mirror.
That's amazing, isn't it? And especially on Father's Day as well. It's great to have that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm sure I made Dad proud, hopefully.
What's happening for the next race then? What are you going to be up to for that one?
Yeah, just going to try my best again. Just try and do a few overtaking manoeuvres, because I'm slightly back on the grid, because the 2nd fastest qualifying time. I think I'm starting 5th. So just try and work my way up the grid. Yeah.
Last question, how difficult is it, or does it change when the time attack cars have been out and laying all the rubber down for a race car?
Well, I haven't really, because they were out every time before us, I haven't really seen what it was like before. But I mean, there is plenty of grip out there, but there is noticeably less grip on that last corner, I think, a lot of understeering.
Well, listen, I'm super impressed with your drive. I'm super impressed with your hair still looking.
Oh, I know, it tried.
You look like a CNA model. You look amazing, mate. So spot on. Well done, Alfie. Good Cheers. Man. Back to you, Andy.
Thank you very much, Paul. Well, great to hear there from our drivers down in pit lane, on the live stream at least. Remember, those of you trackside here can go home tonight and watch all of the action again. Believe me, there is an awful lot to watch. More racing from the Civic Cup coming up at 5:10 later on. For now, though, we return to time attack, so I'll hand you back over to Alexi.
Any minute now. Of course, those of you joining us either on the stream or in person at Tuner Fest South all day